Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. We warmly welcome you to the debut session of our webinar series, Beyond the Bachelor, organized by the Institution of Engineering and Technology on campus, University of Peradeniya. I'm Siobhan, and I'll be your host for the evening. This webinar series was established to address a common problem among the undergraduates today: which path to choose after completing a bachelor's degree. Through Beyond the Bachelor, we aim to provide clarity and guidance on this pivotal decision. We have structured this series to address the issue in two main stages. The first stage focuses on higher studies abroad, and our goal is to capture and share the diverse experiences of studying in different regions of the world. This evening, we will delve into the personal journeys and insights of individuals who are pursuing advanced degrees in various international locales. We hope these stories will offer valuable perspectives and help you make informed decisions about your future academic pursuits. Thank you for joining us tonight. We look forward to an engaging and enlightening session. Without further ado, I invite Nidwara Nimnath, the president of IET on campus, University of Peradeniya, to welcome you all.
Good evening, everyone. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the first session of our webinar series on overseas higher studies opportunities, aptly named Beyond the Bachelor. This series is organized by the IET on campus, University of Peradeniya, and we are excited to have such a distinguished gathering here today. First and foremost, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed speakers for today's session. Mr. Gavishta Liyanage, PhD student at the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, University of Maryland, College Park. Mr. Rashen Fernando, PhD student at the Listening Technology Lab, Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, University of Illinois, Chicago. Mr. Rahul Nanayakara, PhD student and graduate student researcher at the Cyber Physical Systems Lab, University of California, Los Angeles. Thank you all for joining us and for your willingness to share your valuable insights and experiences with our community. Next, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the representatives of IET Young Professionals of Sri Lanka. Your presence and support are greatly appreciated and add immense value to our community. A heartfelt welcome goes out to our entire IET community, including our dedicated members who continuously strive to foster a culture of learning and growth. And of course, a special welcome to all our participants. Your enthusiasm and eagerness to learn about higher education opportunities abroad are what drives us to organize such events. We hope that today's sessions will provide you with the knowledge and inspiration you need to pursue your academic and professional aspirations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aya. So let me introduce our guest speakers for today's session. Since we are focusing on the USA-Canada region today, we have invited three distinguished guest speakers who are currently pursuing their higher studies there. They hail from prominent and highly reputable universities in the region, bringing with them a wealth of knowledge and first-hand experience about pursuing higher education in America. We are thrilled to have them share their insights and experiences with us. Their diverse academic backgrounds and unique journeys will surely provide a comprehensive understanding of what it's like to study in that region. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed guest speakers, Mr. Gavishta Liyanage from the University of Maryland, Mr. Rahul Nanayakara from the University of California, Los Angeles, and Mr. Rashen Fernando from the University of Illinois, Chicago. I think it's better if we hear a bit from our speakers themselves. So I would like to invite our dear speakers to give a brief introduction about themselves to our participants.
Hi guys, thank you for the introduction. So I'm actually a very recent graduate from Peradeniya as well. Maybe some of you have seen me on campus. I'm from the 16 batch. I did electrical and electronic engineering as well. And now I'm studying here at UCLA, doing my PhD, specializing in the area of mostly control systems and nonlinear control. So I think maybe we can talk more in detail later.
Guys, my name is Rashen, and yeah, it's the same with me. I'm also from E16 batch, and I'm also from ECE. Currently, I'm studying signal processing and acoustics uh, at University of Illinois, Chicago.
Hello, good evening. I'm Gavishta. I'm also from the 16 batch. My main focuses are towards the side of electrophysics. Yeah.
So thank you. So now, without any further delays, let's move on to the discussion. Before we begin, I kindly request our listeners to refrain from asking questions in between the session because there will be a quick Q&A session later where you can voice your concerns directly with our speakers. Thank you. So let us begin. Speaking about pursuing higher studies abroad, choosing the right country and the right university that suits you is a very important step, if not the biggest. I'm sure you would all agree with me when I say there are a lot of factors to consider before looking down on your perfect destination. So, Mr. Rushen, what factors did you consider when choosing USA and the University of Chicago as your preferred place of study?
Only applied for pre-university, so yeah, like why I chose University of Chicago. That's just like I applied for three. But I'll tell you why I chose USA. So it's a land of opportunities, right? So there's a lot of scholarships, internships, jobs here. So you can like easily get into one after you graduate. Uh, and the second reason being, so if you do like a PhD here, it's a direct PhD, right? So you straightly come out from bachelor's and go into PhDs. Uh, so in this case, while you're doing 5 years of research, like most of the time it will be like 5 years. 5 years of research, you get to like work on your like masters as well. Like you have to do your masters, cover your masters credit as well. So the other path is going for a masters and do it for 2 years and then jump back into a PhD. So it's going to be 3 years of work. So the PhD will be around again maybe 4 years. I can't really comment on that one, but if you're like doing a master's and then going to a PhD, then it's on those 2 years of master's, you're not gonna spend that on research. So this way, like if you're a direct PhD, you get to do 5 years and while doing master's credit. And the third reason is US has a very diverse weather. So for us Sri Lankans, sometimes so it's something you should consider. Like if you go to like very cold area throughout the whole year, you're not gonna like it. Uh, and the fourth reason is so US is like a very big country, so you have like a lot of places to travel, and the lifestyle is good here. Also in the USA you get a pretty good stipend. Yeah. So everything is like really good here. Then about the cons, so those are all the good points, right? So the bad side is so visa laws are very strict, right? So if you go to Australia, and so let's say you are coming with a dependent, right? And you go to Australia, the dependent can work. But if you come to USA, you can't do that. Visa laws are very strict, so you can't do any other work while you're doing it. Even like, for example, like if you like feel like starting a business here, it's going to be very complicated. So it's only going to be academics for 5 years, unless you get a green card or like some kind of a, like if you change your visa status. So visa laws are very strict. So like it's 5 years. The PhD is about 5+ years. So in other countries, you can, like, for example, if you do a PhD in Australia, it will be probably like 3 years. Yeah. So those are the cons, right? Then after coming here, what I realized was, so it doesn't matter which country you do the PhD in, because in my field, most of the times, like when I read research papers and stuff, I know the other research groups that are doing the same research all over the world. So if you go to a good research group and do good research, and your name pops up in your field, like everyone knows your name in the field, so you're probably going to get a job in the same field. So even if you like apply for a company, they will probably know you before you apply. So it doesn't matter where you go, it's about the work you do. Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Yeah.
Thank you. Sounds like there are a lot of factors to consider before choosing where you travel as your place to study uh, after your bachelor's degree. So let's move on. As Mr. Rashen said, this region, the USA Canada region, is a very vast region. There are a lot of places to go. So it follows that there must be a lot of different universities with different specializations there too. So, Mr. Rahal, I'm sure our listeners would love to know how the universities in the USA differ from each other based on their specialized fields of study.
Yeah, of course. So once you pick a country, I think picking a school is the next big challenge. So obviously, there are different, you could say, levels of schools. There are like the topmost tier schools, then second tier, third tier, fourth tier, and so on. You can generally classify them into 4 or 5 groups based on their ranking, and there are various different rankings you can look up on the web. But the basic idea is, in general, good top level schools will be good for most fields in engineering. And then as you go slightly lower on, you'll have to think more about which area you specialize in. So in fact, this is like a bit of research which you have to do yourself when you are applying, because uh, even though I say top level schools will generally be good at a lot of fields, there are still some areas which are more popular than others. So this actually depends on how many professors there are in that specific area, how much sort of connections they have with the industry. So if I give you like a personal example, so the school I'm studying at currently, UCLA. So even though I'm doing a PhD in controls, this UCLA is actually not a school which is very famous or very popular for controls specifically. So in fact, the controls research group in the ECE department is very small. It's like just me and like 2 or 3 other students. And we only have currently 1 or 2 professors in this area. But in comparison, if you look at embedded systems and electronics, or like, silicon IC design, that type of area, UCLA is very, very popular for that. So we have lots of professors working on semiconductors and silicon, gallium nitride, stuff like that. And you have whole tons of PhD students working on projects relating to those areas. And I think that might also be because of the fact that we are quite close to, like, we are in California, where the silicon industry is also quite popular. So definitely the industrial connections that the school has, the affiliations, and the specific areas of interests of the professors there will be a big factor. But that being said, even if it's not very popular for a certain area, if the school is good, even the few professors who are there will be more famous ones. So like my supervisor is, I guess you can say he has done some impactful work in the area of control. So even though he's the only professor here, he's fairly good at what he does. But so that is a thing you have to sort of think when you're picking schools, and you have to do a bit of research. And like, of course, when you're applying to schools, you have to definitely cast a wide net. You have to apply for I guess at least like 6, 7, 8, maybe more, because you don't know if you might get lucky or unlucky. So definitely you should apply for as many schools as you can from different like levels of ranking, so to see what you can get.
Thank you, Aya, for highlighting the importance of choosing the school according to your research and according to your need. So, Mr. Gavishta, uh, you have first-hand experience learning here and in the USA now. So you have studied under the both learning systems. So what would you say are the most notable differences between the learning systems in Sri Lanka and in USA?
Oh, well, talking about the undergraduate studies, so in Sri Lanka we have like a compulsory set of subjects that we have to follow up to the third year, and then we can select the courses. But in US, it's not like that. From the start of the undergrad, they can select what courses they want to study, and it's more, I would say, project oriented. Most of the subjects are. They get a lot of projects. They do their own projects, and even for like gradings of the courses, they get projects that they have to do, and they'll be graded based on how good the project is. Also, uh, so like the second year and third year students can take up courses that are offered for the fourth year students, and even the fourth year students can take the courses that are offered for the third year and second year students. So as time goes on, when your study of interest changes, you can select courses that are offered from the department, like anytime during your undergrad studies. So I would say that's the most notable difference of the studies. Yeah.
Thank you, Aya. It seems that in USA, they offer a lot more flexibility than they do here in Sri Lanka. So
Yeah.
in comparison, would you say it's the better approach? Uh, how would you think?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's better, because as you study material, only you grow your study interest or your research interest or in which field you want to go to the industry. So if we are given the chance to take courses that we couldn't take during the earlier years of the undergrads, then it'd be a waste, because it'd be a waste. But here you can take courses that have been offered in the previous years, for the lower levels of years, even after you go to a higher year. So you can learn from the basics and switch to the field that you're interested in.
Thank you. So, Mr. Rashen, we explored this a bit earlier too, but you chose America as your preferred destination. Are there any unique opportunities that we can uncover by studying in that specific region, like related to engineering studies, that we
Of
can't
course.
in any other?
Yeah, of course. So there are a lot of internships, jobs, which I'm not qualified to talk about because I haven't been to internships or jobs yet. So this is my first year, but I have first-hand experience in collaborations. So you get to collaborate with industry. Like most of the time, the research you're doing is funded by industry, right? So in that case, you get to like work with the industry, and sometimes you get to work with other universities. Yeah, so that's really good because if you get the chance to collaborate with some like good set of people, it will improve you a lot. Uh,
Thank you for sharing that. So let's move on. In the field of engineering, we are taught early that the more skills you gain, that's the better. So, Mr. Gavishta, are there any special opportunities for people in USA who have multiple fields of interest?
Yes, definitely. So same as in the undergraduate studies here, even in graduate studies, the courses are like split into different fields like communication, controls, electronics, likewise. So we can select what courses we want to take, but usually most of the people when they come for a PhD, they have already selected in what stream they are going to do their PhD in, so they'll have a set of courses that they have to take. But apart from that, while doing the PhD, you can take courses that are related to the other fields as well. So let's say if I'm working in communication, I can take courses that are offered under electronics or controls. And in most of the universities, I believe that the students are given the chance to take courses that are offered from the other departments as well. So we can take courses from the physics department, chemistry department, even from fields of arts as well. So yeah, there are a lot of opportunities, I mean, to learn and then even to pursue in research if there is a supervisor who accepts to supervise you on that research or maybe a small project, maybe. Yeah.
Thank you, Ed. So it seems the USA offers a lot of options among with that flexibility so that the students can explore their options and decide on whatever chooses best. And I'd say one would say there are limitless options to try to okay.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely true. Yeah.
so we see that the worrying about completing the standardized tests and preparing the necessary qualifications is a common trait among people who are looking to migrate to another country. So, Mr. Gavishta, does this hold true for the engineering students who are looking to migrate to another country too? And if it is, what kind of academic and professional qualifications should we obtain before traveling abroad?
Well, depending on the university and the country you are traveling to, the qualifications differ. So in all of the universities, when they post their PhD openings, they'll put up a list of qualifications that they require. So in USA, definitely IELTS is a must. So some alternatives are also provided. They provide TOEFL, PTE as well, and for academic qualifications, I would say it's better if you can have a good GPA. I mean, a second upper would be most preferable above a second upper. And I think most of the people here are very interested in projects that you have done during the undergrads, because when we talk with supervisors, like an obvious question for them is, okay, what projects have you done on this field? Why are you interested in this field? So it's better to do projects that are related to academics and which are not related to academics if you have the interest during your undergrad time.
To clarify, even projects not related to engineering can help your appeal to the university abroad.
Yes. because you can mention all those in your CV and your resume. Even when you write, it would reflect your curiosity, your interest in different fields, your creativity. So those kind of stuff are seeked by the professors and even from the industry professionals when they get someone.
So thank you for clarifying once again the importance of doing projects and gathering the necessary requirements to study abroad.
Excuse me,
So,
I would like to add something to that.
Sure.
Gavishta talked about projects. There's this trick I did, which when I want to like do something out of like academics, I started doing 5 projects. So that way you get the motivation to do the project as well as like earning an income as well. So that's a really good approach if you guys like want to do projects, like to have a good motivation to do projects. Yeah, and you can like get the funds to do the projects as well. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure many of our listeners got inspired by that. Moving on. A lot of undergraduates worry about the possibility of switching their focus of study after getting their bachelor's degree. Mr. Rahal, is it possible to follow postgraduate studies in a different path from your bachelor's or engage in non-engineering related courses after getting your bachelor's degree?
Yeah, so like as we mentioned, so there's a lot of flexibility when it comes to the graduate program in the US. So you can definitely get into any program with anything else. So just to give you an example, you can do medicine here after doing your undergraduate in engineering in the US. But of course, that being said, getting selected to a scholarship for a PhD might be challenging if you're making like a big jump in the field, because then you have to convince the selection committee that you'll be a good candidate for the PhD program, and like you won't spend a lot of time struggling to learn things in the new field you're going to. But if there is not a big difference in the field, then of course it's very easy to get info. So a lot of people come to do biomedical engineering and like other sorts of engineering after doing electrical as undergraduate. And so in fact in my lab, one of the other PhD students did mathematics and physics double major for his undergraduate, and now he just finished his PhD in electrical engineering, specializing in controls. So there is a lot of flexibility here to go across fields. The hard part, I'd say, the bottleneck is like getting selected to a program. So you have to convince the selection committee and the professors there that you will be capable of getting into that field and doing good work. But after that, of course, and after coming here, you can take any type of course you want and branch into other areas and like basically follow your interests. And I think that is also one other big thing about the US, and why like the PhD from US universities are very highly recognized, is because while we do the PhD and while we are doing research, we also get to take a lot of classes. So at the end of our PhD, we won't just know one specific area, because usually PhD is about one specific thing. But in addition to that, we would have also taken classes covering a wider range of topics. So I guess PhD graduates from US are considered more employable because of that, because of their wider knowledge range.
Of course.
Can
Would you
I
say
add on to that, please? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sure.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, so I know people who have done their undergrads in electrical engineering, electrical or electronic engineering, and then they are doing their PhD in totally different fields like psychology. So you can still do that, but I mean, I know diplomas offered in various institutions in Sri Lanka. related to those fields, which are like 1 year, 2 year long degrees, diplomas. So if you're applying for a higher study in a completely different field, it's really good if you have a diploma of that sort while you are doing your undergrads in engineering. So it be very appealing for the selection committee because you are doing a very challenging undergrads, and while doing that you have done a diploma in this field that you are interested in. And adding on to what Rahul said, since we can choose courses, different courses from different departments after coming here, I mean, you can, the better option, one of the better options is to come to the ECE department and then select courses from other departments and then switch. So that's something you can do. Yeah.
That's true. Getting into CS is really hard, right? Like the competition is really high.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thank you for sharing all that. I'm sure all of us listening learned a lot about that too. So let's move on. Even though we explored a bit about the cons of learning abroad, but I'm sure all three of you have different experiences you experienced while moving to a new country and adapting to a new culture, different time zones, and different people there. So I would like if you can explain some of the problems you got all of you experienced while adapting to studying abroad.
Well, talking about US, since so I came here as a teaching assistant. So my main responsibilities are to look after a course under the supervision of the lecturer and then take courses that are needed to do my research. So one problem I would say is the role of a teaching assistant. It's pretty different from what we do as instructors back in Pera, because most of the time we'd be the ones who are grading the exams, who are grading the assignments, and sometimes we had to hold discussion classes for students as well. So if the lecturer is unable to come to a lecture at a time, then we would have to go and give the lecture. So those are some challenges that I faced while studying here. Apart from that, going for lectures is pretty much the same as we did in undergrads. We just go to the lecture and we have assignments to do, exams to do. That's pretty much the same.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think
So
if you're doing a teaching assistantship, it can be very challenging because there's a big workload and like a lot of things you have to balance. But I think on the research side also, when you like start doing research at first, it can be very challenging, which I definitely found challenging at first because it's a big jump from where you finish your bachelor's to where you start. So there's when you first come here, you feel like there's like so much that you don't know, and there's a lot to learn and so many papers that you need to read to get up to speed with things. So that can definitely be like a very challenging and daunting task, but like I think over time you get used to it, and yeah, so definitely you need to be prepared to do like a lot of self-learning by yourself, like without having someone teach it to you or someone explain to you. You have to be able to like read stuff, go through stuff, understand them and find solutions. I think that is one big thing, more when it comes to the research side than the actual classes and courses, because when it comes to classes and courses you can always like ask the professor or ask a TA, but more for research, you do need to have a lot of independence and self-study.
Yeah, that's so true. Publishing the first paper is also a really hard thing because you had like even if you think you're close, like there's like you feel like still it's like a lot of things are missing out. There's a big knowledge gap. That's true. So I will talk about like some small problems I have to face when I was in USA. So finding apartments, things like that. So you have to like find it in a safe place, uh, and you have to adapt to a new routine. So learn cooking, laundry, and everything. So you had like it takes some time to like for your life to go smoothly with all of that. And also, there's this one problem I faced when I first came here because of the huge set of like paperwork. Sometimes your stipend may get delayed from the like first few months, so you have to be prepared for that. So bring extra money for that.
Sounds like it wasn't an easy path after all. So, how did you make sure any tips you can give to a person looking to travel abroad so that they won't get overwhelmed by all those challenges and they can start their study smoothly, adapt to the transition smoothly?
The first thing is to find another graduate student who came from Sri Lanka to that place. Then it would be a lot easier because they'll
Yeah.
help you a lot in finding apartments, getting all the necessary stuff like beds, chairs, tables, like the most basic stuff that you need to stay at a place.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have that luxury. So I'm actually, I think, the only Sri Lankan here in engineering at UCLA. I'm the only Sri Lankan person I have met at UCLA. There may be others, but not that I know of. But so for I guess the other problems, it's just a matter of just like doing it and getting used to it. Like when it comes to research and like learning how to learn things by yourself, you just have to like it comes after you do it for a while. So the first time I had to read through like a paper, understand it, implement it took me like several weeks to get through it, but now I'm doing it at a much faster rate. So the more you learn, the easier it will be for you to learn. So it's definitely something that you have to go through and like get used to it. I guess there's no shortcut for that.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure what Mr. Rahal and Mr. Gavishta said was helpful to all those looking to travel abroad. So, funding your studies abroad is another crucial aspect of pursuing higher education. You have to ensure your financial sustainability among the challenges too, I think. So, I think the scholarships, grants, and student loans play a significant role in that, allowing us to focus on our academic goals rather than worrying about our financial stability. So, Mr. Gavishtak, can you explain briefly about the scholarships, grants, and the student loans that are available to students looking to study abroad and the way to access them?
Yes, so one of the most famous scholarships that is offered is the Fulbright scholarship. Yeah, so one of the most famous scholarships is the Fulbright scholarship that is offered by mutual understanding of the two countries. And there are a lot of scholarships that are offered from the university that you are applying to. And so one of the major misconceptions regarding getting a scholarship for a PhD is many think that you'll be just that's not how it works. It's like the scholarship is given because either you are working as a research assistant or because you are working as a teaching assistant. That's the scholarship. So you'll be covered, your tuition will be covered, and you'll be getting some stipend to your hand as well for your living expenses. So for all of the Sri Lankans that I know who have come for a PhD, none of them are paying by their own hand. They will be getting a scholarship because when you are applying for a PhD, we are applying for a scholarship. I mean, we are asking for a TA-ship or RA-ship. So when you're filling out forms, when you apply for PhD, they'll be asking whether you need any financial aid, whether you need any scholarship.
So,
Yeah,
is there a
just
limit?
to oh sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering if there's a limit of the number of people who can apply to that certain scholarship, or do they offer the same things for everyone who applies, like the financial aid? Uh,
So it's like, so when you are applying, so simply put, it's like they are putting out a Google form, and we'll be asked to fill our details, and in one place they'll be asking whether you need scholarship, and then yeah, we'd say yes. And the university have a specific number of students who they can give scholarships to. So that number of students will be recruited. So for PhD, it's usually, so for in Maryland, in the ECE department, there's about 50 to 60 PhD students. And as far as I know, all of them are getting a scholarship because they are either a TA or an RA. So not everyone who applies will get in. They'll be getting people who the university can fund.
Yeah, and what I wanted to add earlier was like a lot of people have a question that can you get scholarships and funding if you just want to do a master's? And like that's a question I think a lot of people used to have, like way less common, because the university doesn't gain anything by funding someone's master's, but by coming for a PhD, you're basically employed by the university. Like Gavishta said, two main forms of employment: either you're a teaching assistant or you're a research assistant. And so for a funded graduate, like higher studies program, PhD is definitely I'd say the only option. It's very, very unlikely to be funded for a master's in the US.
Thank you. I'm sure everybody found that to be a lot helpful. So, Mr. Rashen, speaking about the current state of the world, uh, I'm sorry, Mr. Apologies. I'm sure there must be a number of people among our participants today who plan to pursue their higher studies in the USA. As such, I'm sure they would be interested to know what kind of job opportunities there are available in the USA after they graduate.
Yeah, so there are, I guess, two main directions that you can go in. That is like industry or academia. Academia is where you go into like becoming the end goal is to basically become a professor at a high, maybe a good university. So if you're following that path, a lot of people do like a postdoc placement after graduating, and then try and become a temporary professor somewhere, and then an associate professor, and then all the way up to becoming a full tenured professor. On the other hand, if you're going into the industry, I'd say there are tons of options, especially in the US. And like Rashen mentioned earlier, it's like there are so many industry options here. There are so many companies, like all the big famous tech companies that you hear of are all based in the USA. And in addition to that, there are so many startup companies. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity, especially if you want to go into the industry. And I think some might believe that a PhD is not something you do if you want to go into the industry. And I feel like that is a big misconception, because in the industry here in the US, for certain like job posts, the bare minimum requirement is a PhD in that field. So like doing a PhD will unlock like all the possible jobs in the industry you're going into. And of course, if you want to talk about like financials, then obviously I think no other country pays as well as the USA when it comes to like engineering and the tech industry. So after graduating with a PhD, pretty sure like the starting salary will definitely be more than $10,000 a month, more likely like $15,000 a month. And like once you keep going up, it'll definitely get high. Even if you go into academia, if you are a professor in a very good university, you can definitely like be very comfortable financially.
Thank you, Aya, once again for highlighting the importance and how much opportunities there are in the USA for higher studies. And off the script, how much likely do you think that a student who has obtained his PhD will return to Sri Lanka to teach at a university here after obtaining the
To teach at a university in Sri Lanka? I guess that depends on the person. I mean, if you prefer like a calmer lifestyle at the sacrifice of money, then I guess that is a good option. Like the thing is, after graduating with the PhD, you'll have like a lot of options available to you. And then if you decide to go for that option, I mean, you'll know like what the other options are. And if you decide to sacrifice one for the other, I think that's more like a personal choice. Like there are obviously pros and cons to both. But yeah, it's up to you, I guess.
Okay. Thank you. So, Mr. Rashen, when we speak about the current state of the world with the economy and everything, what are the emerging trends in each engineering fields, and how does the state of the world affect the demand of each field?
Oh, well, it seems like AI is growing pretty fast, and AI, augmented reality, virtual reality. Uh, so those are the fields. So I'm currently mainly working on virtual reality. So yeah, I feel like that field is growing pretty fast, but demand is like for every field, because there's a lot of opportunities here, so you don't have to worry about the demand. Basically, what I feel like is so rather than like going for the demand, it's the best that if you like know all the basics of the field you are working on. So if you know all the basics, and if you know a little bit about the technologies, like how to like if you know how to use tools like AI, then I think that's what matters the most, because there's a lot of opportunities and demand is for everything. Yeah.
Thank you. I think a lot of our participants here are interested in the fields of computer engineering and electrical engineering. So, can you share with us a few of the trends in those fields, specifically in the USA?
Oh, well, let's see. I can't like I don't have anything on top of my head right now at the moment.
Yeah, I think what you said earlier is quite correct. Like anything and everything
Yeah,
is in
I
demand
mean, so
here,
it's
even
more
from
about
what
like,
I see.
yeah, So it's like you start your PhD, and then with your supervisor, like you will like explore a lot of areas. Like you will do projects on like a lot of areas. Then only you can like figure out like what you actually like, what you can do for like next 5 years. Yeah, the demand is for everything. You just have to like choose what you like.
Yeah, because there are like certain areas here like which you don't even encounter when you're doing your bachelor's, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
I think silicon based like low level engineering. There's quantum computing, which is quite popular, and like whole bunch nanoscale, nano level stuff. A lot of stuff.
Okay, thank you. Once again, the highlighting theme is the range of opportunity, the range of opportunities you can pursue in the USA. So thank you. So going with the trends that are popular in the world at the moment, Mr. Gavish, in alignment with that, what would you say are the skills that are most in demand for an engineer in USA?
I would say the ability to like to when you encounter a problem, if you when you encounter a problem, if you know where to find the solution, that's the main thing that they're looking for. So having the knowledge, having the basic knowledge, as Rashen mentioned, in a in a vast area, even within engineering, is a good thing. So in that sense, our bachelor's degrees, so it's not a matter of memorizing everything in whatever the field that, then if you know where to find the answer, you can refer the material and then find it. And also I'd say, so people in US are really outgoing. They'll just come up to anyone and speak. So you should not be shy when interacting with people. And yeah, I mean, talking about when looking at the industry side, I'm not the best person to talk about that because I at the moment don't have much of an interest to go towards the industry field. I believe Rahal and Rashen might have some better ideas on what they are looking for.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say like still don't have much idea because we still don't have a lot of experience, I guess, interacting with the industries. We still haven't done an internship. But yeah, I think maybe Russian has interacted a bit more with sponsors and like the industry, collaborated with the industry, right? I think.
Yeah. So it's like this, right? So the researchers want to like explore the subject and like publish papers and like go in baby steps. But when industry is sponsoring you, they want the actual working model. So they want to put their money if like you can make something work. So the quality they are looking for is like um, for a deadline, like whatever the deadline they give you, uh, provide the work. Like that's the quality. Like that's the simple expectation of them. But as for researchers, it's not like that, right? So yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure everybody got at least a bit of an idea about who they are looking for in an engineer in USA. So we have undergraduates joining with us today who are currently in their final leg of their bachelor's degree. Mr. Rahal, any advice for future engineers who are getting ready to finish their bachelor's degree, especially regarding their research-based projects and how to make it successful?
Yeah, so I think definitely doing a research project is very important as your final year project. So try and do something that is which aligns with your interest, but that is not strictly necessary. I mean, I think Rashen did something that is very similar to the area that he's working in now, but in my case, it's not the case. So I did my final year project in like signal processing with a bit of AI machine learning, but now I'm doing more like controls and cyber physical systems. So it's not compulsory to do a project that is aligned with the research area that you're hoping to go into. And in fact, it's okay to not have an idea about what research area you want to go into now. Like either, I mean, the good thing about the US program is for a lot of schools, you can come in without knowing exactly what you want to do, and you have the freedom to like take classes and get a feel of the subjects and then pick your direction. But yeah, going back to like the initial question, definitely like try and get like a publication or two out of the research you do during your undergrad. I think that is very important, like, you know, learning how to write a paper and be able to like do, you know, a good literature survey and publication. That is, I think, something that some professors even look for. The fact that you have a publication will definitely go a long way. And I think Rashen might be able to give a more personal comment on that, about how like having a paper might help you get selected.
Yeah, thank you. I published a paper on audio source separation, and so when I applied to this university, um, the so I applied to another professor in controls, but another professor in acoustics who wants to work on acoustic, which came like very new to the university, approached me because he saw the paper. And yeah, the projects that I worked on. So having a paper or some projects related to like a field of some professors might help you a lot, because then yeah, they will definitely look first, like their priority will be to look for people who already know the stuff and like get the work going. Yeah. So they don't have to like start from like ground level. But yet when you start, you have to like start from ground level when it comes to PhDs, but still it will be a huge advantage if you have a paper or like related projects.
Yeah, and if you have like a very high impact journal publication, then there is a massive help, I guess. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's essential, but it's definitely a huge contributing factor if you have some research experience to show.
And also they're also like looking so when you have a journal or a paper, they can also assess like how well you are at writing. So yeah, they won't get a good measure like if you're so if you have done writing before, that's also a good qualification.
Thank you. I'm sure everyone here found those insights very helpful, and it will prove very valuable to them in the future. So that brings us to the end of our discussion. I hope this session has been an educative one as well as an inspirational one for all our listeners. And now, as promised, it's time for the Q&A session. So feel free to switch on your microphones or type a message in the chat box and clarify your doubts directly from our speakers.
So I actually got a couple of questions sent to me during the session there in the chat. So one of them was, how can you specifically know your research interests? Like I'm still not sure about what I'm truly passionate about. So that was the question. So I think like I mentioned like a couple of minutes ago, I think one advantage of coming to the US is you don't necessarily have to have a specific interest. I mean, depending on what sort of program you get selected to. If you already have a good idea when you're applying, like I did, then you can directly apply to a certain professor and go like straight into that area. But I think maybe Gavishta can answer this question more probably because he got into like the general department admission without choosing a specific area, right?
Yeah. So for me, so before I come here, I did my final year project, something related to antennas, and after coming here, since they have a lot of courses that are being offered, I took courses that are related to photonics and quantum mechanics stuff, and then I grew interest towards that. So now I'm taking that path to do my research in. So, I mean, you always have the opportunity to come here and explore different fields, even though you have done, or maybe you are doing your undergraduate project in a fixed discipline of electrical engineering. After coming here, you can take the basic courses of different fields and then select on a field which interests you. So even in the first year, you can take courses that are offered from other departments as well. Like I told earlier, you can even take courses from the chemistry department, and if you have interest, if you grow interest in that particular field, you can always contact a supervisor and then ask to join for research. You always have that flexibility.
Thank you. Yeah, so I received a question as well. A participant wants to know about the mechatronics engineering opportunities in USA.
Yeah, so I guess I'm probably the guy who's working closest to that area. So there are like tons of opportunities in like robotics and like mechatronics, definitely. So, and it doesn't specifically matter what you do for undergraduate, I guess. If you do like mechanical or electrical or mechatronics as your specialization, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you have the knowledge to like get into, you have done the necessary courses. And if you're going into an area like mechatronics, controls, robotics, then definitely you need to have a very strong background in mathematics, I guess. So you yeah, I mean, there are definitely tons of opportunities. A lot of schools have separate like robotics based programs as well, and you just have to like apply to a couple, try your luck and give it a shot.
Thank you. So there's another question. Can a can a person directly move to USA after their bachelor's degree to do a job without doing a PhD or a master's degree?
Well, that's really hard, right? So because USA, well, you can do it. So, for example, Mexicans like they get easily access like into USA because they are doing like not engineering jobs, right? Like, it's cheap labor. Like USA will take you into their country if they want cheap labor. But getting in as an engineer is like really hard. Uh, that's yeah, that's really hard because there are a lot of people in USA also like doesn't have jobs, even they graduated from a US university doing an engineering degree. So there are some people I know that didn't get any job.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
it's very, very unlikely, like very difficult to for that option. Yeah.
Thank you. So the next question is, what would you suggest if we want to join the industry instead of academia, graduating with a master's degree and join, or whether graduate with a PhD?
Yeah, I think I guess it depends on what type of industry like job you want to go to. So definitely by doing a master's, there are like a lot of opportunities that become available to you. So even in our graduate program, there are lots of students who do the master's in electrical engineering, while only a smaller portion are doing the full PhD. So I mean, I guess the problem is on one hand, funding. You'll have to probably take care of that yourself because you don't get scholarships. But on the other hand, if you want to go to like the topmost level of the industry, like you're like research engineers in the industry, then I think definitely you will need to like do a PhD. And of course, it also depends on what your interests are as well. So if you're, then definitely PhD should be the option for you.
Thank you. So,
I want to add something. Sorry, I want to add something to the previous question. So there are some jobs in UK, and I think that there's probably a chance. Like, don't be discouraged. There'll be a chance. Like, if you're like really really good. But the main problem there is a company have to spend a lot of money to take someone from outside, and they also have to prove when they're taking someone from outside that they don't have that talent in the country. So there's a lot of work. So that's why you can't like get in to USA as an engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, the visa process is much stricter, I guess.
thank you for clarifying that. So, the next question is, what's the difference between a master's degree and a PhD, and what's the difference of pursuing those degrees?
Oh, I think they are very very different. So masters, I guess, it's like a more advanced version of your bachelor's, right? You do like a bunch of courses, and then maybe you do like a little thesis or project at the end. The material you're learning will be more advanced, but the general outline, like the format, will be like your bachelor's. But when you're doing a PhD, it's like you're doing your own thing. You're trying you're doing a lot of research a lot of the time, trying to find some unsolved problem you can address, and then uh, uh, it a lot more, I guess, independent work. It's US, of course, your D portion. It's I guess less about courses and more about just doing research and trying to solve problems.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, someone who haven't got a undergraduate degree directly
Do
apply.
you mean not doing a bachelor's at
So I got a question saying, can anyone who hasn't done an undergraduate degree apply for engineering PhD, like honors degree from physics or electronics from the physical science path as an undergraduate? So if that is the question, then yeah, definitely you can do like physics or some other Bachelor of Science for your undergraduate and apply for a PhD. Like I mentioned before, one of my lab mates who is graduating tomorrow with his PhD in electrical engineering did his bachelor's in physics and maths. But yeah, no, but you can't do a PhD without doing any bachelor's at all, obviously.
Thank you for clarifying that, Aya. So the questions are coming. The next question is, can we submit our final year research directly to high impact journals and our final year research publications in normal conferences? Is it valuable? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Uh,
Oh yeah, go ahead, Rashen.
of course, you can like go to the website, like you can find search for conferences, and then do as they say, like simply write the paper and publish it. Uh, but you have to like get accepted. Sorry for the noise.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it's definitely good if you can publish it in a high impact journal, but sometimes it's difficult to like directly write a journal paper within your final year. So if that is the case, it's like good if you can try a conference publication as well. And maybe a better option is to try for like an international conference. I think Russian, you did this with your final year project. So rather than submitting to one of the like engineering conferences held in Sri Lanka, you can submit it for a international conference, which is like more impactful and I guess better.
That's true because when I was having the interview with my professor, he also have like submitted papers to the conference that I submitted. So if if you like submit papers for well-known conferences, most of the time professors will know the conferences and they can assist you. Like if this guy can get a paper into this, then he might do well with me. So it will be really helpful if you can publish a paper to an international conference. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is they're asking for your idea about carrying a master's to research and then doing a PhD.
Well, most of the other international students who come for the PhD do have a master's, and depending on the courses that you take during the master's, you can always transfer the credits from the master's to the PhD, so your burden of doing courses or getting your credit requirements covered is somewhat eased. Having a master's is good, but I mean, coming directly to a PhD would be a much better option in my opinion, because you can start on the research from a very early stage rather than doing a master's and then coming for a PhD and starting a research from that point onwards.
Yeah, so just to add to that, maybe I can share like a little secret that my professor told me. So it's that he said that among professors in top universities, they tend not to pick students who have done a master's, especially from like South Asia, India, that region. Why? The reason is because like there is a prevailing opinion that you do a master's in India or in Sri Lanka if you were not good enough during your bachelor's. Rather, like if you weren't good enough to directly apply for grad studies in the US, then you would like try and do a master's to sort of compensate for that. So because of that, in the top schools, he said that the professors prefer to take direct like fresh graduates from the undergrad rather than people who have done like stayed in their like home country and then done like a master's. But I mean, I guess that depends on the professor's opinion. So my professor told me that, and he said that he doesn't believe in it, but he said that a lot of professors are of that opinion.
Sure.
So I got a question. Sorry. I got a question. After finishing the PhD or master's, how is it possible to join for jobs? Since the student visa is only approved for studies, after the completion of our studies, they will tell us to return to the country. So that's kind of true, but once you finish the PhD, you get like another 3 more years to like work in USA. So with that if you can like when you answer you to continue doing the job here. And I advise like if you are like coming to USA, try applying for green card as well. So it's a lottery. So if you get that during the time of your PhD, it will be much easier for you to get into jobs because then the companies don't have to like sponsor to like get the visa to you. So it's a burden for them to sponsor and get you in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I got a very common question, I guess. What stands out the most between GPA and project and research experience? I guess that's a common question that a lot of people have. I think, in my opinion and experience, I think out of the three, I guess probably the most important might be the GPA, I guess, because that's used as like the filtering or like the ranking. I guess GPA is probably the most important. And then I guess maybe like research experience and project experience, I think. But I mean, it depends on who the professor is. Obviously, it's like he will select you. But I feel like in general, judging by like the pattern of the people who got into higher studies, I feel like GPA is probably the most experience. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
I mean, there's a requirement, like to get into any program, there's a GPA requirement. So, yeah, other two are not like requirements. So, I think it's the most important one.
And even while doing the PhD, you have to maintain a GPA above some certain value that is set by the department to be able to get the PhD. Or in some departments to at least to be qualified to do a PhD. So even though you come here you come here saying that okay, I got selected to a PhD, by the end of the first year or second, if you don't have a certain amount of certain amount of GPA, you can be dropped out of the PhD.
Yeah, if your GPA drops below 3.5, I think you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
Don't do any courses
I
that's like unnecessary.
yeah.
I got a question from student asking that is interested in quantum physics and asking how to saying that undergraduate studies are not directly related to quantum physics, but how to pursue in that path. So you can always come here and then take up those courses. But if you're really interested, even at this stage, you can always contact your academic advisor from the department and say that I'm interested in this, so that they can direct you to the professors or lecturers in the science faculty of the physics department. So in the physics department, they teach quantum physics material. Then you can contact those lecturers and then ask whether you can come and sit in the lectures to study. I think they'd be more than happy to have people from other faculties study their material.
So I got a question. Can't we move to any country to do a job without a PhD or master's? Well, so you can. So even though I said like it's hard to get a job in USA, if you have a green card, actually you can easily get into any country you want. But it's only USA, so USA visa laws are very strict. But I think Australia, Canada, UK might have a chance, but I'm not really good qualified for answer to that. Yeah, so there might be a chance, but you have to prove your value to them. So there's less probability that you being the most important, like the like they can't find your talent in their local area. So it's kind of like it's really hard.
Yeah,
There's very low probability.
Yeah, I think you're more likely maybe in Australia. I guess some people like apply for Australian jobs after working in the industry, but I'm not sure if like we are the best people to comment on that topic.
Thank you. So there's another question. Is it best to do an MPhil and top up to a PhD or go straight up for a PhD? Because most of the people are aiming for jobs rather than being researchers.
Yeah, I think this is quite similar to the question we had earlier, like doing like a master's or doing both the master's and the PhD. So I think it really does depend on what sort of job you want to go to. If there are like different tiers of jobs, and certain jobs are only like unlocked basically if you have a PhD, and there'll be like a limit to which you can go with the masters, from what I understood.
I mean, PhD is kind of like doing a job itself.
Yeah, that's true.
Good.
I got a question asking like if you're applying for during the final year, like what time do we have to apply? So these students is it's called the fall intake because the academic year starts in fall, that is in August. So the application deadlines for the fall intake is usually in like early December. Usually it's December 15th, but in some universities it's December 1st. It might even be the end of November. So you have to have that deadline in mind, and like prepare your sort of application, your CV, and do all the necessary exams like IELTS, GRE if necessary, and apply by that deadline. So early December, late November, by that time you've got to be ready to apply, basically.
Uh, I've got a question. What stands out the most between the GPA, the project, and the research experience when you're applying for a PhD?
Yeah, I think we talked about this question, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let's do one question to finish up. Is it realistically manageable to do uh, part-time while working on a PhD and being an artist?
Well, you can't really do part-time in USA
Yeah.
because it's illegal. Because you get a F1 visa status like when you're a student. So you can't have any other income streams if you're a student. Even if you like start a business here, it's illegal. You can't have any stream. You can't
I
do
don't
like
know. Yeah.
sorry.
No, I said I don't know if they meant by like part-time they were referring to the either the TA-ship or the RA-ship that we are doing. So that is actually the only job you can do is the one that is given to you in your scholarship package. And I guess so I'll comment on my personal experience, which is I got an RA-ship. So I feel that it's easier if you have RA-ship because then you're basically being paid to work on your own PhD. And I think Gavishta shared some comments about what it's like doing a TA-ship earlier, right?
Yeah.
But in Australia, I think you can like. But to be honest, with the
Yeah,
PhD,
some
like
other countries allow that.
with the stipend you get and the workload you have, there's no need to do any part-time. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, you don't have time to do part-time.
yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
I got
And
one last question. I think They've asked, is higher studies a busy and stressful life? Do you have free time to enjoy life?
I mean, of course, right?
Obviously,
Uh,
yes.
uh,
I mean, you have time to enjoy. It'll be stressful when you are closer to the deadlines, as usual.
I mean, if your professor is like really chill guy, then yeah,
Mm.
it's like very easy for you. You have a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
plenty of time to enjoy. But like there's a lot of deadlines and like so it's like it depends on your professor. Uh,
Yeah, it definitely depends on the supervisor. It's definitely very busy, I guess. And like it's stressful, obviously. There's more work than than our bachelors, obviously. But you definitely do have like a lot of time to enjoy life. Like it's not about just completing the 5 years. It's you definitely will enjoy the journey, I guess.
Thank you again. And I think that brings us to the end of our Q&A session. My sincere thanks go out to our speakers for taking time out of their busy schedules to come and share their valuable experiences with us in this capacity. Now, let me invite Manit Dushan, the co-chair of our webinar series Beyond the Bachelor, to deliver the word of thanks.
Thank you, Shiva. Um, so, first and foremost, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to our distinguished guest speakers, Mr. Gavishta Liyanage, Mr. Rahul Nanayakara, and Mr. Rashen Fernando. Your presence here today, despite your busy schedules, is greatly appreciated. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights and knowledge with us. Your contributions have significantly enriched our event. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to the representatives of IET Young Professionals of Sri Lanka and IET On Campus University of Peradeniya committee members. Your support and efforts have been instrumental in the success of this event. A heartfelt thank goes to the organizing committee. Your hard work and dedication made this event possible, and we are truly grateful for your commitment. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank all the participants who joined with us today. Your enthusiasm and engagement have been key to making this event a success. I hope you have gained valuable insights that will positively impact your future academic journey. Wishing you all continued success in your academic pursuit. Thank you. Over to you, Shaw.
Thank you. Thank you. Ayat.
Yeah, thank you very much. We just want to say like we'll share our like
Hello,
email addresses.
Shivan, Manit. Yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, we were gonna say like we'll share our email addresses in the chat. So if anyone wants to reach out with like any more questions or just like talk to us about anything, they can drop us an email, because definitely we had a lot of help from our seniors when we were applying, and that was a big source of strength for us as well. So we'll be happy to help anyone who has questions.
Thank you. That will be most appreciated. And that brings us to the end of the debut session of the webinar series, Beyond the Bachelor. Thank you everyone for joining us and third of this webinar series featuring speakers from another region in the world. Till then, we bid you farewell. Thank you and good night. And we'll share the emails of this speakers in the WhatsApp.
Thank you.